treatment pond water. Get a Big Berkey today at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit our website or call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
JJ, Steve, Jerry, Margaret, John, you've been holding, while Steve's been on the last 50 minutes. He's with us the whole next hour, but now it's open phones. Until the bottom of the next hour, I'm going to be interspersing breaking news as well. But coming up, we're going to get into this news of the Dow Jones at 18,000, GDP best in a decade. We'll talk about the real economic status from Steve Quayle's research with him coming up. And look, I want a good economy, but we're on top of a giant bubble. And the globalists just passed a bunch of laws so they can sign us on to new derivatives that's not our debt. And so this is a serious situation. I'll ask Steve how he thinks that'll unfold. Right now, though, JJ in Kansas, what do you think the big issues are going to be in 2015?
I will get to that. First, I have a question. Pretty important, and I think a lot of people out here are wondering the same thing. It's about when the crap hits the fan, everyone's been preparing. Everyone's been stocking up food, water, arms, whatever to keep their families safe. What is our end game? Like, what do we go hide in, like in our fort, our bungalow, whatever? What do we do? Like,
well, that varies on where you are. And look, people 50, 60 years ago were always prepared, even if a crisis wasn't coming down the road. If you lived in the Midwest, you had a storm shelter because people got killed by tornadoes. It wasn't that you were living in fear, you were just prepared. So getting back to the land, having a backup plan, that's key. Getting your heart right is even more important in my view. We'll get Steve Quayle's take on that. But in the final equation, they could nuke a city. The globalists could, or any of these crime networks, try to bring in martial law. They could have a huge collapse in Mexico and 20 million come across the border in 1 week. That could destabilize things. A world dollar devaluation. There's just so... It's like a cartoon where the character has 100 plates in his hand and he's trying to balance them. You know they're coming down. Every economist says that. The question is, how bad will it be? We're trying to get people prepared. The elites are all getting prepared. The rich people are all getting prepared. I was just talking about that. All these rich people I either know or know folks that know have been building underground bunkers and have armed guards and are moving out to the countryside. I mean, that's been in the news. Or moving, to islands in the middle of nowhere. What do they know? Steve Quayle, to try to answer his question, what do people do to get ready?
First thing is, you said it, get right with God. Second thing is pray, and I mean this. Pray for the right people to come across your path. No man is an island unto himself. Look, I was one of the founders of the PrEP movement almost 30 years ago, and I can tell you this. So many people have come into my life and gone saying they believe in preparation only to basically, either betray or stab you in the back, whatever, but pray. And here's my answer to this. God will give you better friends than you'd ever choose for yourself if you'll seek him first, not after the fact. Same thing for spouses. Second thing that people have got to do is they have got to get the mindset that it doesn't get better. They are preparing, in essence, for the total siege. Look at Argentina. Look at the history of the world. Look at the siege of Stalingrad. Start getting realistic. And I'll tell you this, Alex, if someone, and I'm not picking on the caller, this is the best advice I can give. If you have to ask that question, you haven't done your homework. First thing, though, get right with God. Second thing, pray and make it a matter of your chief input to find like-minded individuals.
Well, and it's good to seek, because I can talk the talk. I'm so busy fighting tyranny, I've not gotten as ready as I like to, and I offensively try to fight the globalists to affect the future battle space to change things. But the reason we all prepare is when you realize how evil the globalists are, and they're in control, and all their documents say they want to make you totally bankrupt and bring in a global depression, to bring in a global government. We don't know the hour or the time of that. But every indicator is they're accelerating their timetable to meet that. They're behind. Steve?
Yeah, I think this is critical. The most important thing I would tell everybody, that visits my site. In real time, I put up the alert section. It's over on the right-hand side of my page. Alex, the reports coming in from people in the food processing business.
I want to hear this. Stay there. Thank you, caller. Stay with us. Third hour coming up. Thank you, JJ. Good question.
Thank you for listening to GCN.
Steve, you're up next.
Visit GCNlive.com today.
And John, Margaret, Jerry. Stay with us. We're on to all of you.
Several months back, I started taking your nascent iodine and your super meal. Prior to this, I was barely walking. Now I'm able to function as a human again.
InfoWarsLife.com. You've heard the callers of the show.
Your products are great. I use DNA Force. I use X2,
Thank you.
Super Male Vitality, and Lung Cleanse. Every day, they're great stuff.
Whether it's Survival Shield Nascent Iodine or DNA Force, Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Lung Cleanse, Fluoride Shields, Oxy Powder. I believe that all of these products will blow you away like they've done the thousands of other customers that have visited InfoWarsLife.com.
Dash 2, just amazing what it's able to do to actually detox the body. It's great stuff.
Check out InfoWarsLife.com today and the entire line of groundbreaking, cutting-edge, hardcore products.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Coming up at the start of the next segment, I'm going to break something down that I think is really central and really important. And I'm going to get Steve Quayle's take on it. Right now, let's continue with your calls. Let's talk to Steve in Ohio. Thanks for holding, Steve. You're on the air worldwide.
Hey, hello, Alex. How's it going?
Good, brother.
Hey, as far as my take on what the globalist agenda is, I would go as far as to say that, you know, they are going to attack the Tea Party members, but also true patriots like me, yourself, veterans, and oath keepers alike. And if that doesn't work, then I believe that they'll go to collapsing the economy on purpose due to the fact that you can't feed your family. You can do whatever you can to feed your family. That includes going with their agenda, doing whatever they want you to do.
I think that's a great point. Steve Quayle, your take on that. Thank you, Steve.
Well, I think he's really right, and I think the thing that most people don't realize, Alex, you and I did a whole show, I think the last show we did on the Deagle Report, the way you take out 200 million people, first of all, is you're going to take them out by starving them into the FEMA camps and then killing them once they get there.
And that's what Mao Zedong did, and David Rockefeller helped organize it, wrote an article for New York Times about it. He's very proud of the 80 million plus they killed. That's what Lenin and Stalin did. This is the globalist program.
Now, it started, Alex. That's the thing. Let me get to the food thing. If you just said, Steve, what's the most important thing you know at this minute, which you're basically asking me, is I have people in the food production business, the biggest food producers, emailing me, calling me, saying, we just got the biggest orders in the history of our company in MREs, bigger than anything that was put forth by the government, and they're all going, their words, not mine, into underground caves and bunkers. Then people are telling me that in some of like the areas of Pennsylvania and other areas of really key food production, bottom line is they're saying, Steve, we are seeing these purchase orders and they don't make sense. They're not going to any of our standard customers. Then we fast forward, Alex, and I'm getting reports from all over the country, but first and foremost from some of the areas that are closest to these bases, okay? 236, some people say 250 underground bases in the United States, that the food is being diverted from the warehouses that basically furnish or provide all the goods to their supermarkets. The biggest supermarket in Fargo, North Dakota is having empty shelves because not that people are coming in and buying everything, they're just not getting anything. So I say this, the great starving to compliance is underway. It's one thing to see rioting. It's another thing to see, people upset philosophically, and rightly so. But the point is, when they don't eat, that's when they riot. And the goal of the Illuminists, the goal of the Illuminati, the goal of one of the highest-ranking Texas Illuminists I ever met, tried to convert him. I failed, meaning share Jesus with him. He said, I'm too far gone for that. I pledged my allegiance to the Prince of Darkness 20 years ago. But I will tell you how it's going to play out. That's a true story. I can tell you his name. The point being is it's starting to happen now. And this is you just ran through the historic litany of it. What happens when food disappears? Well, the next thing that when food disappears, nutrition gets hit. And that's why people should be buying every nutritional support product they can get. That's not a pitch. It's advice. Your calories are going to be cut. The nutritional goodness of what you used to be able to eat is going to be cut.
Well, I was about to say, I go to restaurants I've gone to for years, and now it's not real meat anymore, well, I mean, they admit meat prices are all-time highs, other things are all-time highs. At the same time, energy prices are going down to bankrupt Russia. I want to talk about that with you straight ahead, Steve Quayle. And folks, I'm going to break something down really important when we come back. So please listen up and stay there. And we're also going to go to John in New York. We're going to go to Jerry in Georgia, Margaret in Oklahoma, Lori in California, Linda in New York, and others. Toll-free number, 800-259-9231. Live. We have a special rebroadcast with Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, and then William Benny, that incredible interview a month ago, where the former head of a major NSA department, number 4 in the overall organization, spilt his guts about the tyranny of the all-seeing panopticon system they're attempting to construct to control civilization and to set us upon the path to tyranny. There are the forces of good and evil in this world. I know everybody knows that, but there's not just evil operating. But if good people will not recognize that there are bad people trying to get full control, trying to set up a planetary government so there are no nations or peoples to block it, and that it is a worldwide unified program of bad will towards humanity for total control, we don't have a hope or a prayer. Conversely, if we can be played off against each other, we don't have a prayer. So when I get up here and sometimes give you worst-case scenarios, it's because I'm tuning into, from research, the wish list of the technocrats and what they'd like to do. I have read hundreds of books written by the technocrats. We've quoted them here. We've sourced them. We've sourced 3 or 4 or 5 or more today. We've shown the quotes on screen for TV viewers. We've plugged them for radio listeners. So you can go check it out for yourself. There are people, if you study the Jacobin French Revolution, that was the opposite of ours, an Illuminati revolution, I mean, that's in the history books, that wanted to change the work week to 9 days out of 10, wanted to change the calendar, abolish the family, and wanted to make basically devil worship the state religion, where they would be kings over a new hell world. These are crazy people, but they hunger for the power and the control. So when we get up here and break down what the globalists are doing and point out how bad it could get, it's because we're hoping to shake people out of their slumber. We're showing you a possible reality, a possible future, and one that's becoming more probable. Certainly, much of it is now unfolding. When we beat something, when you beat something, when we fight it together, then they say, oh, it never happened. But you notice a lot of it does end up happening. It is a mathematical fact that the economy will implode one way or another. It's designed to, and the globalists admit that. But they tell the public, oh, it's just the greatest GDP ever. Dow's up 18,000. Not telling you it's because fiat dollars are following it. Not telling you it's because it's full of derivatives. It's full of fraud. And they get the public to buy into the fraud, believing it'll shore up your pension fund. They're getting ready to start taking the private pension funds to, quote, shore up the stock market and get you to go along with it because, oh, well, that'll secure the fraud. But really it won't, because areas like Greece and Spain are a few years ahead of us. It was designed to impoverish you. Steve, I want to go back to calls and break down a lot. I want to get into all this, but what I'm trying to get at here is the enemy's greatest tool. I forget who said the devil's greatest trick was convincing the world he didn't exist. The globalist's greatest trick is deny this stuff exists. Now they admit it exists, but say it's good.